Hello and welcome to another HanDrinksSolo wine info video. And today we're discussing a Touriga Nacional 2018 vintage produced by Allesverloren, one of the Swartland's original gangster estates. Now, Allesverloren are situated about 100 kilometers north of Cape Town. They're tucked away on the leeward side, I think it is, of the Kasteelberg, right in the middle of the Swartland. Now, the estate is not literally as old as the hills, but they are pretty old, being founded at the very start of the 1700s, with their first wines being pressed in the beginning of the 19th century. So, pretty old. They've been around long enough to know what's what. Now, the estate itself is home to a number of Portuguese varieties that they've been growing for some time, but our focus today is on Touriga Nacional. Back in Portugal, Touriga Nacional is an absolute champion of both color and of tannin. But I guess if I were to compare Touriga grapes to a literary character, I'd peg them as a sort of SAMWISE GAMGEE type affair, because they're kind of small, really thick-skinned, very persistent. Sure, he may be a little bit late to ripen intellectually, and when he does ripen, doesn't give you very much, but his heart of gold and pure likability really makes him the choice of white wizards and kings of Middle-earth everywhere. I've forgotten what we were talking about. Touriga Nacional. When it comes to Touriga Nacional in South Africa, its plantings are minuscule. It is ranked 20th of the red cultivars in South Africa, below Tempranillo, and seemingly way behind far more obscure cultivars like Tinta Barocca or Carignan or Tannat, which is crazy given the sensory potential of this amazing grape. It just has so much glorious structure and inky color and waves of Cabernet-like black fruit. But perhaps it will help you to understand the mismatch between quality potential and the fact that there are hardly any vines in the country if we think of Touriga Nacional vines kind of like a young Robert Downey Jr. I mean, the potential is brilliant, but unless it is very closely supervised and has its personal habits pruned from time to time, the chance of its reaching potential are very low indeed. But with time and discipline and training, Touriga Nacional can be truly sublime. And at this point, I can see you're a little perplexed because you're asking me, well, come on, man, is he like SAMWISE or is he like RDJ? Well, you got to stick with me. Touriga Nacional grapes are like SAMWISE, small, thick-skinned, and very persistent. Touriga vines are like RDJ, which are unruly, need to be supervised, and need to be pruned regularly just to make sure that they don't destroy themselves and instead reach their sublime potential. And at this point, you might say, Han,
what does it taste like?
And I guess this is what makes Touriga Nacional such a low-risk branching out exercise, because a lot of the fruit flavors and aromas that you get are not dissimilar to Cabernet Sauvignon, except perhaps to say that Touriga often presents a slightly plusher, fuller mid-palate, and its tannins are usually quite a bit softer than you might expect from, for example, a Cabernet from the 2018 vintage. If I were to shift our analogies into the world of rock and roll, I'd say that Cabernet might be the white stripes, whereas Touriga Nacional is a little bit more like the raconteurs. There's a little more softness and plushness in the mid-palate, but it also has just enough of those savory tobacco and spice notes to make sure that you remember to take it seriously. But it doesn't have enough tannins to make you regret opening it now and wishing you'd put it in the cellar for another year or two. So that's all we have time for today, but if you get the chance, why not open this guy alongside Overgouw's Touriga 2020 to compare the styles of the two different wines, and it'll give you some idea of the potential of this cultivar when grown in various South African terroirs. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with the weekly videos that I publish on niche cultivars or rising star winemakers or even unusual regions that are beginning to show potential within the South African winelands.